The gun sounds, and the first race of this weekend of cross country in Leopardstown in South County Dublin is underway, and it's the junior women's race. 5,982 metres. To all intents and purposes, 6,006 kilometres. 31 countries represented. This grand old hippodrome, the horse race course at Leopardstown.
All 6 Kenyans there in the leading group, and that group, I think there's just 15 in that leading group. The Algerian and Charlotte Dale beginning to tail off, so no happy 18th birthday for her. She's about 10 metres adrift at the back of the group now. In fact, one of the Kenyans beginning to find the pace. One of the Kenyans and one of the Ethiopians. The pace is being factored up just a little. And one of the Kenyans is beginning to find it just too much for her. She was, I think that's Valentine Koech, who led early on. I think that's she beginning to drift off the pace. Yes, it is. And the sole threat coming from Turunesh Dibaba, the Ethiopian junior cross-country champion, in that group, and looks to be threatening. Certainly hasn't given up the race. Chariot looks to be labouring just a little bit. The most alert of them is Dibaba by the looks of it. Out in front, Kibiwot. And Kibiwot looks quite composed, but with her, the Ethiopian Dibaba looking very strong and very determined. But so too, Vivian Chariot.
Now it's just the 3. And the medals would appear to be within their gift. And now a strike for home by the defending champion, Viola Kibiwot. Suddenly the foot goes down on the gas and away she goes.
About 250 metres to go. They're hitting the hill. They're just coming off the track onto the finishing straight. And Kibiwot in front, Dibaba in second, and Vivian Chariot in third place, working very hard, labouring into the wind up the finishing straight. The Ethiopian hasn't given up yet, and she's counter-attacking in the straight. There's about 180 metres to go, and the Ethiopian Dibaba is counter-attacking. She's hurting out in front. Vivian Kibiwot is hurting badly, but she looks as though she'll just about hold on. She's tiring, she's visibly tiring. The Ethiopian is catching her. There's about 4 metres between them, but Kibiwot is going to hold on to become a history maker, the first woman to win the junior championship 2 years in a row, or in fact the first woman ever to win the junior championship twice.
There'll be a new champion in this event this year, because the defending champion Enoch Koech has withdrawn through illness. Now the gun, and they're away. The men's short course championship of the world in Leopardstown, South County Dublin.
And really her horrendous pace been set right from the gun. Really going very, very fast down that wide open space.
4,200 metres.
Kenenisa Bekele out in front, runner-up last year, an astonishing athlete who won the junior title in Ostend, and the following day, or at least he was second in this race, and the following day came out and won the junior. But here he is, galloping right from the start, number 206, Kenenisa Bekele. 247 is Julius Nyamu, replacement for Enoch Koech, who's ill. An 8 minutes, 8 second steeplechaser. And already at this hectic pace, the Kenyans, the Ethiopians, and the Algerians up in front. There isn't too much time to settle yourself in this race. It is only just over 4,000 metres. So it's necessary to focus and concentrate from the start. 243, Sammy Kipketer, ranked 4th in the world in the 5,000, in the 5 kilometres in 2000, was 7th placer in the 5k at the World Championships. And there is the bell. It is the short course event, so just another lap to go.
And an indication of the quality of the field. We mentioned Gareth Turnbull as being an Irish hope, and there he is, but he's currently labouring in 38th position.
Oh, this guy really is impressive. He has been unbeaten this season over the country. The Kenyans suffering very badly. 2:44 there, Luke Kipkosgei, Sammy Kipketer and Julius Nyamu. That's Garcia. 205 there was Mohammed Adil from Ethiopia.
217, John Mayock, yes, the top Briton. Gareth Turnbull going through there as well. But there's our leader. A little tidbit of useless information. He's an Arsenal supporter. He may have more joy here than he will have in the Premiership, but he's running so well.
He is running so well that it's hard to believe, in fact, that he mightn't attempt a double over the weekend and go for the men's senior race tomorrow, the long race tomorrow. Remember last year, he had a first and a second, the junior and runner-up in this. But he is so far ahead of the rest in a short race like this, to have broken the field with almost a full lap to go and to be cruising away. Mekkonen, remember, in second place, is a very, very serious competitor. Very strong. Mekkonen was third in this event in 1999, sixth in 2000 and 10th last year. A big, heavy Ethiopian, unusually so. He had great difficulty in the mud of Ostend, finding the going much more to his liking here, but beginning to tire just a little bit. But out in front, there seems to be no question of any tiring by Bekele.
But there's something significant happening here, because Kenya, Bekele in front, have won all 4 individual and all 4 team titles in this event since it started in 1998. But the way it's shaping up now, they're not going to win the team title here, because the Ethiopians, while they are not in front, are packed nicely, and the 4 scoring Ethiopians could well dislodge Kenya from the team title. But I don't think there's much doubt that the individual medal is going to go to this man. What a performance.
A lot will depend on Mekkonen. If Mekkonen can hold on for second place, then they have a very strong chance. But the Kenyan 4 are packed very strongly themselves. So if there's any drift by the 3rd and 4th Ethiopians, then it's going to be very, very tight at the end.
Bekele, the Ethiopian, running so strongly into the finishing straight.
Mekkonen under pressure from the 2 Kenyans, and this is going to put the team championship back into the melting pot. No question about Bekele, very fluent up the hill, hardly a break in stride in the final 180 metres. But 2:44, Luke Kipkosgei counter-attacking on Mekkonen and goes into second place.
There's our winner. He's led from the start, and it's such an impressive performance. The winner, all right, 2:06, Kenenisa Bekele, the World Junior Cross Country Champion of last year. 2:44, Kipkosgei, Luke Kipkosgei coming in second, but winning the event. And the short course champion of the world, Kenenisa Bekele of Ethiopia. 2:44, Luke Kipkosgei second. 2:07, Hailu Mekkonen of Ethiopia in third. There's the confirmation of the finishing places. Kenya 2nd, 4th, 6th and 8th. And that looks like being enough to retain them the team title. Gerawami's problem is that she has a knee injury. Her absence is certainly noteworthy. She's medalled every year for the last 6 years and won the event on 2 occasions too. And it's an event, like most in cross country, that has been dominated over the years by the African nations. Team event has been dominated by Kenya and Ethiopia over the last 7 years. 4 times the Kenyans have won it, 3 times the Ethiopians. In the last 11 years, Portugal is the only non-African nation to have won this event. Paul Radcliffe, 789. You'll recognise her that familiar bobbing head. Aerodynamically inefficient perhaps, but nonetheless a shrewd athletic brain in there, and that carried her in Ostend 12 months ago to her first major title in this event. And how it was well received. One of the most popular of the international athletes, and Radcliffe in there in the middle of the pack at the moment.
Radcliffe moving up to join the others at the front. Bit of pace injected. You see, coming up the hill, nobody was interested in injecting any pace, but now as they hit the more level or even possibly slightly declining, the temptation is to inject the little bit of pace. You see them beginning to struggle as they face into the wind and the hill.
It's a fair old drag up that hill. And we now do have a leading group. A group that's detached itself from the rest of the field. Great appreciation from the gallery at Leopardstown. Sizable crowd. It's spread out in a racecourse, obviously, but they have come in their numbers to see this event. Paula Radcliffe very much in contention as they pass what would be the finishing line. 3 laps to go. 2 Americans running strongly too. Corinne de Ruyck, Dina Dreesen. The essence of cross-country running evident in the expressions on the faces of the leading group. It's about commitment and courage and digging deep. It's not as simple as lapping a 400-meter track. The undulations and the wide open spaces inviting the wind like today. Now the leading 3.
Colleen de Ruyck going through, and with her was Leah Mallott. Mallott was 6th last year, 6th the year before, 9th in 1999 and 8th in 1998. Looking for a top 8 position yet again, but once again Radcliffe and Drossen drawing away from Rose Chariot. Chariot has gone right back to be swallowed up by the rest of the group. Now whether she's able to stay with them, the gap has sort of narrowed a little bit in the last 100 metres, but that's only to be expected. But it's still a very, what is it, 150 metres?
Oh, I'd say so, yes.
Yeah, good 150 metres. Yamanaka, Colleen de Ruyck, and 777 is Jerusalem Kuma from Ethiopia. Radcliffe really struggling, takes the bell. There's where they register. Bell lap, 1 to go, Radcliffe in front. Drossen in second, but Drossen looking very, very determined. Radcliffe will worry that with a lap to go, she has a runner still on her shoulder, because she won't have the speed in her legs. And really the East Africans being swamped here to a certain extent. Colleen de Ruyck, Yamanaka of Japan in 4th.
Well, Radcliffe has to make her move, and she's done it, because we've seen her outkicked so many times that the danger is there that it could happen. And that point you make can't be stressed enough, that if she's training for a marathon, she's not going to have a finishing kick here, and she has to be far enough away from Dina Drossen when that hill comes again. But you know, we might have quite a finish up that long drag.
But to have opened as big a gap as that in such a short space, it's quite incredible. It's a question of taking advantage of a downhill decline and actually injecting pace. Take the opponent by surprise, and all of a sudden she's opened a 30-40 metre gap.
Dina Drossen hanging in, but Paula Radcliffe knows she's got to go if she's to retain this title. And gone she is done. At the foreshortening effect of the head on camera suggesting that Dina Drossen is closer than she actually is. As you see them coming off the mat, you'll see the kind of distance there. Drossen keeping in touch. Radcliffe, it must be acknowledged, would be a most popular winner here. She's had a great cheer every time she's come around in front of the grandstand. And she's the one who's captured the imagination.
You get the impression Drossen is trying to counter-attack, trying to haul her back in.
Steroik, the other American, some way further back down the line. And the Ethiopian Kuma, Jerusalem Kuma. Radcliffe with her lead. I think you're right, it's slightly less than it was. It's still big, but is there enough there for the long drag up the hill? And it is a long hill.
The demeanour of Drossen suggests that she is still challenging for the lead rather than trying to challenging for a win rather than trying to consolidate second place. I mean, that's the way I would read the way she's running. So we'll just have to wait and see how it unfolds.
She's running very smoothly, isn't she?
Yeah. She's not beaten yet. It's a very solid lead that Radcliffe has. But as I say, Drossen has not given up yet and does seem to be hauling her in just a little bit.
Radcliffe's is the lead, as the stragglers, you may have heard the bell in the background there, are still taking the bell. Ethiopia and Kenya, as you'd expect. The United States with a very solid performance. Paula Radcliffe has that gap.
It's hard to believe that's not a decisive gap.
I'd have to agree with you. It's a very, very sizable gap. But against that, it is up the hill, it is into the wind, and there won't be any acceleration left in Paula Radcliffe's legs. We just don't know about Dina Drossen. She's won distance races on the country, on the road, and on the track in the United States. She's a very, very accomplished athlete. And she's also a marathon runner. I think that gap might be widening once again. Look at that for determination. The face of Paula Radcliffe.
Radcliffe is using all her strength.
It's beginning to hurt now, if it didn't earlier on. And she's in the home straight now. If you're familiar with the race course at Leopardstown, you'll know it's a fair way up that hill. Drossen challenging still, but does not appear to have that extra zip that would bring her back towards Paula Radcliffe. And the air of excitement in the stands as they approach. Oh, it's hurting now. Big battle on for the bronze as well. But this woman, Paula Radcliffe, is hanging on grimly and attempting to retain her title. Won in such dramatic and challenging circumstances in Ostend 12 months ago. Radcliffe holds on. Drossen is battling hard, but she's not closing the gap. It's going to be Radcliffe's title. And what a popular winner she'll be. Roared on from the stands at Leopardstown. Paula Radcliffe battling hard and hanging on to retain her World Cross Country Championship, and that's the battle for third place. The bronze medal is still there to be contested, but there's no doubt where the gold is going. Fighting hard all the way to the line. Paula Radcliffe has extended the gap again, and we're watching Paula Radcliffe become champion of the world for the second time over the cross-country distance. A magnificent victory. Dina Drossen of the United States coming in to take the silver, and Corinne de Ruyck is going to take the bronze. consolidating the United States team effort, but that's a really, really gutsy performance from her too. The Japanese will take fourth, but it's gold for Britain, silver and bronze for the United States. Here's the result. Paula Radcliffe with that 9-second gap over Dina Drossen, and Colin de Ruyck, who ran and competed in 3 Olympic Games for South Africa, the land of her birth, taking a bronze medal for the United States. A field of 125 runners from 59 nations set off on the Junior Men's World Cross Country Championship. 2 laps of 1,880 metres, 2 laps of 1,750, and a 700 run in, and that gives a fair old indication of the pace that they've set off at. Storming start, this Junior Men's race. An event that's been dominated by Kenya and Ethiopia in recent years. The last non-African winner in the team event was the United States, and that was 21 years ago. And in the individual event, the last non-African to win was a Spaniard, Pere Kazukuberta, in 1984. But the Kenyans have set off at a storming pace. 72 on the left is Eliud Kipchoge, 71 is Nicholas Kemboi.
Chariot just 17 years of age and cutting out a very, very strong pace as they take in one of those little bubble loops that will occur twice in the course of this race, just to get the distances right. 73 in second place is Thomas Kiplitan, running through perhaps one of the damper parts of the course that they traverse before crossing the fairway of the golf course on the mat.
There's our leader, Thomas Kiplitan. There's 3 Kenyans in the first 5.
An amazing run there by Gebra Mariam. He was down in about 8th or 9th place. The leading 4 had got right away from the rest of the field, but he has worked extremely hard over the last 800 metres and has now rejoined. And that is a very, very courageous thing, to have rejoined the leaders. The leaders are perhaps not running with quite the fluency that they were early on, but Gebra Mariam, that's a tremendous thing to get back into contention, into the middle of that leading group.
Chariot, the leader. Gebra Mariam of Ethiopia in second place, and it now looks to be between these two because they've detached themselves with a subtle injection of pace. And now the race is on for the line. They're about to enter the finishing chute, and the crowd begins to applaud, and the dice is between the Kenyan and the Ethiopian, and Gebra Mariam goes now. He has paced himself the better. That smooth acceleration just taking him away from Abel Chariot. Chariot trying to respond, but I don't think he's going to manage it. Gebra Mariam, the man who was back in the field, who pulled himself forward to rejoin the leading group, has now sprinted clear of the leading group. And Gebra Mariam is going to win the junior title for Ethiopia. Gebra Mariam of Ethiopia, a wonderful run to finish in first place. Abel Chariot takes the silver medal, but there's sure to be a team gold for Kenya. In the bronze medal position, Boniface Kiprop of Uganda. So despite the Kenyan domination throughout much of the race, fourth place, Kiplitan of Kenya. That's how it finished in the team event. Kenya 18 points, Ethiopia next, and Uganda taking the bronze. And a false start. 2 sounds of the gun, it sounded like, but they've gone. We had a false start earlier in the junior men's race. Field of 110 from 45 countries. Sonia O'Sullivan deep in the bunch at the moment. There she is. that year, 5 years ago in Turin, she was disappointing herself, but her strong finish helped propel Ireland into the bronze medal position in the team event. But here she's seeking a victory, just 3 months after the birth of her second daughter. Strong performance, 4 Kenyans there. 6:40 running in the colours of Australia. Lead has changed hands. Now led by Isabella Ochichi. Based in France, this runner in front now. Made her big breakthrough last year. Sonia O'Sullivan is now in 7th position. She's leading the little group that she's in. Ochichi, the leader, and takes the bell. There's the standings at the end of the first full lap. Sonia O'Sullivan placing 7th. Ochichi, Masai and Kidani. And commendable 13th position for Ann Keenan Buckley, crossing the finishing line at the bell.
I like the look of Kidan there, the Ethiopian. She's worked her way up to join the leaders, sitting on their shoulders now, taking the benefit from their pacemaking, and she looks extremely comfortable.
Team standings, Ireland in 4th place, level with Russia. Ann Keenan Buckley's efforts there contributing towards the potential for an Irish medal. First 4 to score. Masai and Ochichi and Kidan. Sonia O'Sullivan trying to work her way closer to the 2 leading groups in front of her. It's Benita Johnson in 4th position for Australia at the moment. Is that gap too big? And the feeling is that it is. Sonia O'Sullivan is to the rear of the second group, leading her group. Ochichi, Masai, Kidan. Sonia O'Sullivan back in at 7th place that she was holding. Sonia right at the rear of that picture. Fifth place at the moment. Behind the Australian Johnson, filled by Susie Faber, Susie Hamilton from the United States. You'd have to confess that the medals look like being shared between these 3. Ochichi, Masai and Kidan.
And Keenan Buckley holding a very strong 7th is Sonia O'Sullivan, 8th, 9th, 10th. I think Keenan Buckley has actually moved up a couple of places in the last 400 metres.
Sonia O'Sullivan challenging for 6th place now, and she's in 6th place. This is all good from an Irish team point of view. It may be disappointing if Sonia doesn't get among the medals herself, but the stronger she can finish, the stronger Ann Keenan Buckley can finish, and the strength behind could bring Ireland into a medal position. In Turin, when they won the bronze, Sonia was 9th, Katharina McKiernan was the strongest finishing Irish runner, she was 7th. Valerie Vaughan in 23rd and Una English in 25th places brought Ireland into a team bronze medal. And when you look at it like this, that in front there are 2 Kenyans, and they must be favourites for the gold. There are Ethiopians in front of Sonia, but no other country has got two athletes in front of Sonia O'Sullivan, and no other country is packing strongly with their athletes. So the medals are going to be decided by minor placings in the teens and the 20s. Sonia O'Sullivan in 6th position could have a very, very big say indeed in terms of Ireland getting a team medal.
Rosemary Ryan is running well down the field. The disappointment perhaps is after Rosemary that I think Maria McCambridge is not having as good a run as she would have liked and she would have expected.
Well, the race itself is about to be decided, and it's Masai who's in the lead. Edith Masai won individual silver last year in the short race. She's going to come home and take the individual gold this time. Edith Masai, a 34-year-old Kenyan, has put the distance between herself and Kidan, who's in 2nd place for Ethiopia. Kenya is going to take another gold medal. Edith Masai. Gold for Kenya, it'll be silver for Ethiopia, and a bronze for Kenya. Silver for Kidan of Ethiopia. The bronze medal goes to Ochichi of Kenya. Australia taking 4th. Sonia O'Sullivan back in 7th place again, finishing strongly, but is not going to overhaul Abibek Negusi. It's Abibek Negusi in 6th place for Ethiopia. There's Sonia O'Sullivan 7th. To set off on this 12,000 metre race, which involves 6 laps and the usual 720 metre stretch up to the finishing line. They get underway and the race is on.
And let's see if we see the same sort of sprint start from the Kenyans. We saw it in the last race and in the junior race. It was quite awesome. Those are 2 Ethiopians there. Impossible, but that is a very, very fast start, and it is actually slightly uphill. Even they're beginning to hit the uphill stretch now. Come round the curve up to the what is the finish line.
And the leader is an interesting character, Kenny Bekele. He has the world junior record holder at 3,000 metres. He is bidding to become the first athlete ever to win all 3 cross-country titles available to him. He was the junior champion in 2001. He won the short course event here yesterday, and now he's leading the way in the long course event.
And on the basis of our observation of his performance yesterday, you'd have to say that he is on the cusp of becoming the latest, greatest long-distance runner in the world. By Enoch Mitai.
So Kenya leads. Kenya 2nd, Ethiopia 3rd, and then Tanzania in the person of John Yuda in the sky blue, wearing number 468. Now we haven't seen much from them the course of this World Cross Country weekend, but John Yuda is very much up in contention. That's our leader, Enoch Mitai. And not surprisingly, Kenya at this stage showing very clearly as the team leaders. But Tanzania and Eritrea in this longer distance event are having an impact, and it's a Tanzanian who leads, John Yuda.
The Moroccans packing very, very well in that group as well. Alabi Katabi, 3 times a finalist in the World Championship steeplechase, in the middle of that leading group for Morocco.
Interesting the lengths that Yuda has to go to keep himself in trim. He can't go on early morning training runs in the area where he lives in Tanzania, because he'd be in danger of tangling with the wild hyenas, which is clearly no laughing matter. That's John Yuda currently in 2nd place. Jaoud
Garib of Morocco, the leader in the leading Moroccan there. in the all green, just behind the Eritrean, but the Kenyan's very, very strong. But Yuda running a great race, and it's very handy for Bekele that he's got the Tanzanian there making the pace, so he doesn't have to do the work.
He only took up running, this fellow, in the year 2000, and he's emerged as the #1 Tanzanian runner. And one of his proudest boasts is that he's third fastest of all time on the road, over 25 kilometres.
And Yuda's pace is really beginning to stretch them out now, and one or two of them are struggling just a bit. 4:27 there, Richard Limo, the world champion at 5,000 metres. His middle name is Kipkemai, and in the way that the East Africans, and particularly the Kenyans, give names to their children which relate to the circumstances of their birth, his name means born in the dry season when food is barely available or hardly available.
It certainly hasn't affected his running talent.
Richard Kipkemai Limo. But out in front, John Yuda and Bekele looking awesomely easy. But he is having to work so much harder. If you look at the difference between Bekele and even between Yuda and Tellel, so much more comfortable, so much more easy for Kenenisa Bekele. The Kenyan really having to work, really beginning to feel the effects. This man looking as though he's got a fifth gear and is just easing his way around.
It has that appearance, doesn't it, that he's has it in his mind he's going to strike. Yuda still running smoothly, but knows he hasn't been able to shake this man off. Looks so fresh. Yesterday's efforts in the short course must seem just like a training spin. That's Taleli in third place.
And what's happening here is that Bekele is putting the squeeze on Yuda. Yuda may not want to go that fast, but Bekele is just squeezing it, forcing his way up onto his shoulder, and Yuda knows that he either has to run fast to stay ahead of Bekele, or if he doesn't, Bekele is just going to go and go well away from him.
It's a fascinating tactical battle, isn't it? Cat and mouse. And Bekele has just stepped ahead of Yuda. Confirmation of the team standings. And Bekele's first position at this stage won't really help Ethiopia dent Kenya because they are so densely packed just behind.
And he is looking, he looked over at Yuda just to see how Yuda was faring and saw on his face that Yuda now was beginning to crack, and he has decided to go, and it is, you would have to say, almost over.
With over a lap to go. And the moment has come, and Bekele has gone ahead, and there is no question who is the fresher of those two athletes. And it's the young man from Addis Ababa who has just decided that now is his moment, and he's going to go, and you would not bet against him. These are third, fourth, fifth and sixth, the four scoring Kenyans. You are seeing for the first time in Leopardstown a man who is sure to become a huge athletic star over the next decade. Kenenisa Bekele, known to his mates as Kenny. Yuda trying to strike back, getting a second wind, but it's a big gap. It's a big gap that Bekele has opened up, and he should surely remain safe for the rest of the race.
It looks so easy. It can't be, of course. He must be hurting. But, oh, look at the fluency. This is quite remarkable. Because you are looking at a man who is just striking clear, well clear. Meters clear of a huge collection of great distance talent. There's no sign of the third man.
Mohamed Mourhit, the Moroccan-born Belgian who won it the last 2 years, nowhere to be seen.
That's the third man, Wilberforce Talal. And look how he's suffering. Compare that with the man who's 50, 60, 100 metres ahead of him. This is he, Kenenisa Bekele. Look at the difference. And that is the world champion at 10,000 metres, Charles Kamathi.
We haven't mentioned Sergei Lebed much lately either. The European, twice the European cross-country champion. The Ukrainian hasn't figured here either. A long way back behind the leader, Kenny Bekele.
That's Garib of Morocco. As he comes up to overtake, to lap another of the runners who are down the field.
He's just so smooth. John Yuta, second place. The bell still sounds for those down the field. The Chilean is lapped. In third place and feeling the pressure, Wilberforce Talali. Really fighting his way around the track. But the man of the moment, and look at the composure. Another runner to be lapped. Another from Uzbekistan. He's actually taken some encouragement from the presence of the leader beside him. Kazan Rakhimov matching Bekele stride for stride. But that was as much as he could manage. Now he's gone. His race still has 2 kilometres to run. Kenny Bekele is coming up the hill for the last time, about to become the cross-country champion of the world.
Oh dear Lord, he looks so easy.
Second place, John Yuta, Tanzania. Led for so long with Bekele on his shoulder. Finally hadn't the reserves to respond. He's had another look. He knows it's a long, long way back. About to enter the finishing chute now as the rest of the runners have another lap to complete.
Talal in third. But concentrate on this man. Just look at his finishing form. He's going up quite a hill that has taken it out of the rest of the field. It's almost as though it's not there. Totally composed, the poise, the balance, the ease. If you remember Paula Radcliffe yesterday finishing up the finishing straight, she was almost standing still into the teeth of the wind. This man is just cruising up the straight. He's 50, 60, 70 metres ahead of John Yuta. Kenenisa Bekele.
Bekele comes home to take the gold medal for Ethiopia, completing the double of short course and long course. A magnificent performance by a magnificent athlete who is sure to become a huge star of distance running over the next decade. John Yuta of Tanzania in second place, and Wilberforce Talali of Kenya leading home the Kenyan challenge. He'll get the gold medal for the team, but it's bronze individually. Kenya third, Kenya will be fourth as well. Limo, Richard Limo, now he can smile. Talali, then it's Limo in fourth place, and there's the result confirmed. Kenny Bekele, John Yuta and Wilberforce Talal